In question 13 we are given sketches of 4 triangles. We are told that in each triangle the longest side is exactly 1 cm and the other length is given to 2 decimal places. The question asks us to circle the value of cos 50 to 2 decimal places. So remember from trigonometry, if we have a right angled triangle and we have an angle x that we'd like to work out, then we call the diagonal of the triangle, the length opposite the right angle, the hypotenuse. We call the length opposite the angle, the opposite, and the length to the side of the angle, the adjacent. And we know that cos x is a over h. We also know that sin x is o over h, and tan x is o over a. Now in this question we are asked to find cos of 50 degrees. So what we need is a right angled triangle, and then we need an adjacent and a hypotenuse. So let's look at the first triangle on the left. Well, that's a right angled triangle. We have a hypotenuse of 1, and we have an opposite of 0.77. Now we could actually use this, we could use a bit of Pythagoras to work out what cos 50 would be, but that's a waste of our time. So let's move on to the next one. So if we look to the right, we can see that that's not a right angled triangle, so let's forget that as well. If we look at the bottom left one, that is a right angled triangle. We are given a hypotenuse and we are given an adjacent. That's exactly what we want. Finally, the bottom right triangle is also not a right angled triangle. So if we look at the bottom left one, we can see that the adjacent is 0.64 and the hypotenuse is 1. So cos 50 is 0.64 divided by 1, which is 0.64. So that's our answer. It's probably also worth noting that if we did try and use Pythagoras on the top left triangle, that we would have to compute a square root, which is very difficult without a calculator, but also because these angles have been rounded, it's likely we wouldn't get an exact answer anyway. So this question is expecting you to use the bottom left graph. In part B we are given another triangle and we are asked to work out the value of x, and we need to give our answer to 1 decimal place. Now notice that we have a right angled triangle, we are given the hypotenuse, and we need to find the adjacent to the angle, which is x. Notice that the angle in this triangle is 50 degrees. Now we know from the previous part that cosine of 50 is 0.64. So let's use that to work out x. Well, we know that cos 50 is equal to a over h, the adjacent over the hypotenuse. The adjacent here is x, and the hypotenuse is 4, so cos 50 is x over 4. But we know that cos 50 is 0.64, so this must equal 0.64. So we can ignore this stuff on the left here, and we just need to solve that equation for x here. So we're going to get that x equals 4 times 0.64, which is going to give us 2.56 centimeters. Now we need to give our answer to 1 decimal place, so round it to 1 decimal place. This gives us 2.6 centimeters. Notice when we're multiplying by 4, that's the same as multiplying by 2 twice. So multiplying 0.64 by 2 gives us 1.28. Multiplying that by 2 once again gives us 2.56.